That one
Oh my
on.
gosh, I'm so excited.
Turn
I
that
made it
one
to dinner
on.
conversation.
Turn that one on. Let's see.
I made it to dinner conversations.
Well, we're on the Dinner Conversations page. We're on my YouTube page. We're on my Facebook page. I hear we're on your Facebook page.
Good.
Let's go look and see. We should be on all
Sorry,
the
I'm looking on my
pages.
phone.
Huh?
I'm looking on my phone.
Let me look. Chonda
Is
Pierce.
it on there?
It says
No, we're not.
comedian.
Are we live yet?
Yeah, we're live.
Well, everybody's hearing us do all this behind the scenes planning.
We got
I should put my
viewers.
lipstick
We
on.
got here. Look at all these people coming in. Hold on. Look at here. Hi, Mark and Shonda. Wait, can you see the comments? Yes, I see the comments. Can you see that, Shonda?
I see one. I see something from John somebody.
Yeah, and hello from Wayne's. Hello, Dustin Gilmer. Hi, Judy from Ohio. Judy Dotson.
Oh my gosh, I see it.
Can you see it?
I can see
We're
it.
on YouTube. Here's some comments from YouTube. Margaret Willoughby.
This is fascinating,
Isn't
Mark.
this
I
fun?
know you have this whole big setup in your house.
Diane from
you got
Riverside.
The boy toys.
I
Diane from Riverside. Diane, I know you're quarantining in your house. The whole state is. My son is.
Look at here, aloha.
If he can't get takeout, he'll probably starve to death.
Your son. Now, is he over there in California?
Yes, he's in Los Angeles. Oh look, I can see me on my phone.
Are you on your Facebook?
Fascinates me.
Now there you are talking to Mark on Facebook Live. Chonda Pierce is live now, and we got 579 watching there. That is. We got 1,494 watching, 1,600 watching on my Facebook, 1,690, and we got. Well, now that's counting. That's counting everything. I think. Isn't that something?
Baby.
Okay.
Isn't it just fascinating? And aren't you just so not happy? I hate this whole quarantine thing, but what if it was happening and we didn't have all this technology?
Oh, we'd be so bored.
Parents can talk to their kids, though, and grandparents can talk to their grandbabies.
Yeah. And
I saw a picture of our old friend, Dan Postma. You remember him?
Oh, yeah.
I saw a picture of him cleaning the windows at the nursing home where his mama was so she could see him good so they could talk. Is that so great?
I would wish I could go to my mama's nursing home, but she's in heaven.
Well, I don't. She's in heaven.
I know it. I'll be there soon enough. My goodness, the comments are coming in, Shonda. Let's see.
I'm kind of glad my mother's not here. She'd be nervous wreck about all this.
Your mother's gone. My mother's gone. My dad's 88. He won't lie down. My people just don't know when to go. You've got to go when the usefulness is gone. No, I don't want to be. My dad, he's still kicking and having fun. And
yes, he's precious.
And
only the mean people stay so long.
Well, if I was I told God's letting him live so long, God's giving him time to repent.
Oh my gosh, Mark Lowry, you can't say. He's a wonderful man.
I tell him, your mansion's not ready, Daddy. Your mansion's not ready.
Somebody asked me what I was eating. I'm having cottage cheese. If I didn't, my stomach would be growling through this whole thing, and it would be embarrassing.
So now you've had to postpone all your dates.
Oh, yeah. You know what's hard? Well, you know what's interesting? I did a show in Mississippi, Laurel, Mississippi. They're wonderful people. And then I did a show in Clarksville, Tennessee, which is kind of my back door here in Cheatham County. Mm-hmm. And it was just a few hours later they were announcing about the shutdown, about not having more than. But then it was like don't have more than 200 people in a room. Now it's like don't have more than 10. But we had been watching the news, and we were already in the parking lot of the church. So we decided to go ahead with it, and Lord, did I get the ugly notes. I got a lot of wonderful notes going, thank you, but there's always that one or two that sticks out to you that goes, oh, you're putting people in danger. And I said, well, stay home. Don't come if you
got to die of something.
Oh, my.
I mean, are you going to live your life or are you going to shiver in the corner? Now, I do think, and I'm hunkering down. Let me just say,
Right.
I'm hunkering down. Now, I've also got 4 women cooking for me. I am blessed. And they're all great cooks. So this is kind of a COVID-19 diet, and I'm just blowing up like Lulu on Hee Haw. What?
Your retirement years are pathetic.
Oh, I'm not going to retire, Lord. I can't. Now the stock market's gone south. I've got to go make a living.
I know, but Mark, you know what have you fussed at me for many, many years? I don't have stock market stuff and all that. I don't have gadget toys. I didn't prepare for this. I got my iPad sitting on a book of encyclopedias. I still have encyclopedias in my house. That's how old-fashioned I am.
I love an encyclopedia.
I still have them. I mean, I'm just saying, I'm a little bit behind you. And I used to envy that, going, Mark is so much further ahead. And then I realized, oh, I paid for kids and a husband and all that. You got by with. Now you just got women that take care. You got a harem.
I got my harem, and God's blessed me. Boy,
and please, okay, I want to ask you this in front of the whole wide world.
All right.
Has anybody asked you how come you and Chonda Pierce don't date?
Oh, I think I've heard that, but I don't pay attention to it. You know, I let the children play, Chonda. I don't pay attention to that kind of stuff. Why would I want to?
It was me that kept texting you that.
I know that's a lie. Oh my gosh.
About concert though, I do get that. Going, why don't you? And I always go, there's not enough Ritalin in the world. There is not enough drugs in the world to keep our home from not blowing up.
You're up there, and where in Tennessee are you?
Outside of Nashville.
I know, but what's the name of the little place?
Ashland City.
Ashland City. So you're quarantined, and are you really quarantining down? Are you?
I went to the grocery store today.
Do you have?
And then, like the other day, I had a few comics over. I had Bone Hampton, who loves you and you love him. Bone Hampton and Gary Chapman and Jeff Allen. They came over and we did a little Facebook
Was
Live.
that Gary? Was that Gary Chapman?
Yeah, the singer guy.
I love his voice.
I do too. And to tell you the truth, I think I've met him down through the years, but that was really the first time we'd ever kind of really hung around together. He's so insightful. Boy, he loves Jesus. But anyway, we had all just heard we've got no work. And so they came over, and I had a neighbor stewing. I just think that's dangerous. Do you have a lot of old people in your building? And I was like, well, I don't live in a nursing home. Don't get that started. But I just said, but we were all healthy. You know, we all text each other. Does anybody have a fever? No. And there was only like 6 of us sitting in here with this iPad. We don't have your setup. We all need to come to your house. You've got the setup there.
Well, you know, here's the problem. I tried to watch that. I could see you good, but I couldn't hear you good.
I know. And that's surprising.
And the 90% of a video is being able to hear.
Oh.
I've learned. If people can't, they'll watch a bad video that they can hear well quicker than they'll watch a good video that they can't understand well. That's why I'm always trying to work on this sound and get it right. And
well, I think part of it too is my living room is this big booming room, and my voice. You know how much you love my voice.
I love your voice.
It bounces around. Oh no, you don't.
Yes, I do.
I'll never forget your
Your incessant regurgitation of unnecessary verbiage is wearing me out. I remember the exact line. But you know what? I've gotten used to it, and I've grown up, and I've mellowed.
No, your hearing's just gotten worse.
My hearing is terrible.
So now my voice sounds good to you.
Yeah, I can finally understand you. Look at this.
Let me ask you something. I know you're not visiting your dad because he lives in another.
He lives in Virginia, right?
And so, is he in a home where can people visit him?
He lives in a home that I bought him, and he drives a car that I bought him because he was going to see Mama in a car that had 100,000 something miles, and it was 17 miles one way.
Yeah, probably didn't have
to
airbags
the nurse.
either.
I said, "Look, I can't. This will be the last car he ever has. This ain't gonna be a big cost. You know, he's 88. The guy's about ready for a new car. What am I gonna do with him? He's still driving. Mama's in the grave, but
Yeah,
he's outlived her. Still misses her. Um,
that's so sweet.
oh yeah, and he's still going 90 to nothing.
Good Lord have
And
mercy.
Missy, my sister, and her daughter, well, sometimes the daughter's there, but Missy lives with him. So that's good.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That he is not by himself,
No.
though. Somebody can get some groceries and stuff. But yeah, it's I am blessed to be on. I don't know if it's a blessing or not, but it's very interesting. I don't know how I got on the Faith Coalition for the president and the women's advisory board for the president. So I'm privy to have these conference calls every week where all these scientists that you see on television and different cabinet members, they're always talking to all of us. There's probably a couple of hundred people on the call. And yesterday the call was so powerful. A rabbi prayed and it was so beautiful. And he was talking about the promises of the Old Testament, which I guess they don't call it the Old Testament. I don't know what they call it, but it's our Old Testament. He was talking about King David and the promises of Noah, and oh, it was so good. And then they had a wonder. I don't remember the name, but a black preacher who, just praying the glory down right there on the conference call. And that was good because beforehand they were giving us all the scoop of all the, what they're finding out about this coronavirus and how it's being transmitted now. They're realizing it lives a little longer on surfaces. And the whole time, I'm just sitting there, and I don't know if you do this, but when you find out something new about it, you're like, oh, I think I have that. Oh, it starts with the scratchy throat. Oh, I think my throat is scratchy. Or, or they talked about the services, and all I could think of is I got to get off this call and spray my house down. And
right. What are they saying? It can live on the counters for days now?
I don't think it's days. I'm not sure exactly how long. I don't think it's days because that sounds so ominous. But it does live longer than they would like.
Well, we have called to encourage y'all. In your quarantine, we know that you thought it was just going to be weeks. No, it's going to be days because Chonda and I have decided to encourage you. Oh, look.
This and your Bible. Get this and your Bible.
And your hand sanitizer.
Yes, well, we can't find any of that in my state. Oh, you know what was so funny today? So I went to the grocery store and I took a picture of it there. Of course, all the toilet paper's gone. And then I saw this. I don't know if you can see it on there, but I saw this on the shelf where the toilet paper used to be. Wait. Bob's Butt Wipes. That was it. And whoever Bob is, he just made a fortune because that's all you can get around here.
Bob's Butt Wipes is all you could get?
That's all there was. I went to 3 different stores and there was no toilet paper.
Did you buy Bob's Butt Wipes?
Well, I think that's a personal question.
If you did, would you go in there and get the case so we can really see it? No.
I know.
Oh my Lord.
It was hilarious. There was no toilet paper, so I was standing there taking a picture, and a man walks by, and I went, "Don't you wish you were Bob right now? His stock just went up." I'm gonna find out who makes that, because Oh, Lynn Barrington just left me a voicemail.
I've known her forever.
That's how I met her. Okay, I took her to Israel with me.
I saw that.
Oh, we had so much fun. But I love it when I'm there at people's first visit. I'm sorry, I'm sitting on a pillow and it keeps moving. But I love to be there when people have their first visit to the Holy Land.
Right.
Because they just spend all the time crying and crying.
Oh, I know.
She'd get blessed and she'd want to stop and pray. Let's stop and pray right here. Let's stop and say this. Let's stop and read this verse right here. It was so funny.
I've always loved that girl. She's had a big impact in my career, in my life, and God has used her a few times in my life to give me some direction.
Yes, she tells me that.
I know she brags on herself almost as much as you
No,
do.
she doesn't say it like that, but she does tell me a funny story about going to shop for you
Going where?
because to go
Oh,
shopping for
shop clothes and stuff.
yes,
Because
because
they
she
thought
said
I
when you
looked too
were
much like a preacher
a
boy.
Baptist preacher.
Hmm.
She said you look like a Baptist preacher, and I said, really? See, I didn't know you during those days, but the story you used to tell where you started talking in between the songs because it take a long time for the man to move the cassette.
Oh my gosh, yes.
That's one of my favorite stories. And you said that's how you kind of got started. I didn't know you during those days.
Right. Yeah,
But
that's how
me,
huh?
you knew me when I was just starting out.
Oh, I know. Norman Holland gave me a cassette tape of yours, and we were starting that Comic Belief tour back in the early 90s.
Yeah. And you remember I used to wear my church dress, my nylons, and carry my Bible every night because I thought we're going to hell for all of this. I'm pretty sure. And now I just wear leggings.
I know your mother. Once you got her in the grave, you went crazy.
Yes. Y'all, oh, I got something ugly the other night. I was doing the Opry, and that's something I get to do a lot, and I love. And so I got ugly notes because it was just a joke. But anyway, I went out there. It was kind of one of the last nights that they met with an audience, you know. But anyway, and I said, and this is true. I had just read online that 38% of Americans were afraid to drink beer.
We're afraid to drink beer. Oh, Corona beer.
Yeah, because of the name of this virus. And I was like, and then I got to thinking about all the people out of work if Corona beer goes, belly up, which I guess spiritually that would be good, but financially it would be terrible, So I was like, everybody leave tonight, go have a Corona. Well, the Baptists don't like me for that.
Oh well. What's that old joke? The Baptists won't say hello to you in the liquor store. What's that one?
Yes.
I forget that.
That was the difference between an Episcopalian and a Baptist.
Yeah, that's right.
Well,
I talked to Dawn Peslis, Sandi Patty's.
Oh,
I wanted to talk to Sandi, but it's a little hard for her to breathe right now. I've
been texting her back and forth, but she's going to be okay.
Oh yeah, they're doing great. And I interviewed Dawn and I recorded it, so I'm going to play that right now. And then Chonda and I will be right back. So don't go anywhere. Here's my interview with Dawn Peslis. All right. I am talking to Dawn Peslis. Dawn, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule. And I know you're probably just quarantined there. But
we are.
Tell us
Mark,
about it.
So much going on here in a quarantine house with Sandi and I. It's just tough to fit you in the schedule.
So do you also have the virus?
So what happens, Mark, is because there's so few tests with the federal government, what they'll do is if they test, and I've been with Sandi, except I didn't travel on that weekend, but when she came back from that March 8th weekend, I was with her. So they'll say, because there's so few tests, we know that you've got it. It's sort of guilty by association, if you will. But I did have it. I ran a low grade. Again, my temp, I've not run a temp in 10 years. And, I'm pretty healthy and take care of myself. And man, it jumped up quick. About 3 days this past weekend of 101.4, just sort of hovered, kind of went up, and then it left. And I've got a little bit of a lagging cough, but it's really low. It's really like a low grade flu, exactly what they tell you. And you're hearing on TV it is. Really?
So
yeah.
Sandi thinks she got it how or where?
Well, we've kind of traced it back, Mark, to 2 dates. She was in Alabama and then Michigan. And one was a women's conference. And there was just several folks that were not feeling well and not feeling 100%, but they needed to go ahead and hug Sandi anyway.
Oh.
And
but who knew at that time we were on the boat?
You did not. We didn't really know for sure. And but she started being pretty symptomatic when she got back. And I tried to continue at work, but probably what I should have done is quarantine myself immediately once she got back. And, we laid low. We went ahead and quarantined ourselves. She went to the doctor, I should say, when she immediately got back that Monday, the 9th of March. And it didn't test. She tested negative for flu, negative for pneumonia, everything. But we decided to go ahead and quarantine ourselves because they really don't give you anything at that point. They weren't giving you anything per se for symptoms. Does that make sense? So you just sort of lay low and look out for any secondary symptoms that might come about. Does that make sense?
Right.
So it wasn't until the following weekend, about the 13th, Friday the 13th, memorable day, I started feeling symptomatic.
And what was your first symptom?
Fever, really, just sort of achy, chills, just like low-grade flu, nothing,
Sore throat?
I didn't really have a little bit of a runny nose, chills. I really didn't have much of a sore throat.
Yeah.
But the low-grade fever was a real thing for me because I typically don't run temperatures. It's been, like I said, 10 years. So we thought, okay, this is we're definitely moving more towards this. So we called our primary physician again and said, hey, what do you think? He said, go ahead and go to the ER. Mm-hmm. And we went to the ER, which we've got fantastic ERs around here, but the Oklahoma Heart Hospital was just phenomenal. They had triage set up. They met you at the door, walked us in. And it was good again that month. So that would have been Monday the 16th.
Of February.
No, March.
Oh, March. Okay. So I'm trying.
March. So this last Monday.
Okay.
Right. So that's when, but the ER doesn't, they test the pneumonia. They did a scan, a chest x-ray. They did other blood work, but they have to actually send the health department is who does the test. So the ER has to send it out to the health department. Okay. So the health department then looks at your data, decides if they're going to screen you and give you the test. And they did and said, and they'll contact you typically 24 to 48 hours once they take the test in the health department. At least that's how it's going in Oklahoma. Yeah. So they called us and said, a gal called us from the health department, wonderful, said, you are tested positive. We're just assuming that Dawn is with the symptoms that I had. And so we really would be in the second week of quarantine,
Right. Okay.
But her clock started ticking from Monday. So we may end up being 3 weeks.
Today, is it progressing worse or better or holding its own, or what's going on with her?
You know what? She's got a little bit of her energy's coming back day by day, which is good, and she's getting around the house and putzing more. There were a few 3 days there where she was, full on chills, lack of energy. You could tell she had the flu, but now it's coming back and she's got a gauge, every day she's doing a little cooking, a little something, a little putzing. So I smell something in the kitchen over there. So something smelling good.
Yeah.
But, she'll do a little putzing and, she, yesterday did reading with Nani. So she, Skyped
I saw that on the, where the kids were watching the screen. Was that it?
Yeah.
That was so cute.
So we both read a book. She read a book and I got halfway through. Mine was a little longer. So but we're just going through routine again. I think it's up to us, Mark, to really do this, to take this serious, to do this social distancing, to keep an eye on secondary. And, I'm really watching her lungs and her cough, and it seems to me to be getting better. Good. Taking precautions, stay at home,
Yep.
And do your normal daily routine at home. So we're trying.
Well, I'm blessed. I've got Dina in the back house, Colleen, Shelley, Deborah. All of them are cooks. All of them are United Pentecostal or former United Pentecostal, which means they can cook the house down. So by the time this corona thing has played out, I will look like Howard Goodman.
We may never see you again, Mark, honestly.
It won't be the virus that gets me. It'll be the fork. Oh.
But you know what? Her fever's better.
Good.
It's low grade. Again, it's low grade. What are you looking for? Low grade fever, aches, chills, just like a low grade thing of the flu.
Okay.
And some folks might not even really notice, which is so bad if you don't notice and you continue out there in your daily
Oh, yeah.
and you're passing it on,
Right.
you know?
And so
So I'm
people
just
could
really
have it
impressed. I
and
want to
just
say,
think,
Mark,
oh,
go.
it's not that big a deal. But next thing you know, you're having trouble breathing. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly
Well,
right. And maybe not even you, but you could have passed it on to somebody that will see.
right.
We're more connected. Our connectivity
Yeah.
as humans and as people and as communities is more really brought to bear in this. I think more than, we have a responsibility to each other,
Well,
you know?
Sandy getting on their Instagram and announcing that she had contracted this really brought it home for everybody. And I love that she said this is not fake news. When you get it, there ain't nothing fake about it. And I was thinking, if this is one party against another party, why'd they have to destroy Italy in the process? Keep it,
You
but
know,
it's not. It's a virus that is trying to kill us, and we've got to hunker down. And I have hunkered.
good. And that's the message, Mark. Thank you for doing this, that we can get it out, is that we're connected to each other. And we have, this is beyond, this is beyond political parties.
Yeah.
We're Homo sapiens. We're people. We're the church. We're the community. We're connected. And
Mhm.
um, so we have a responsibility, a corporate responsibility to each other. And Sandy's just that kind of girl. She's one of the smartest girls and the funniest girls
She is.
that I know. And she just wants to do her part. She's working this morning. We're finding out, this might be another thing for you to work on, that medical masks are greatly in shortage right now, and they're
Right.
coming up with ways, churches, to make them.
Are you
And so
serious?
Sandy took some measurements, and she's talking with the local gal that's in our. Well, Sandy's not making them, I should say, but she's connecting the dots with the local doctor, an ER doc, who says we need them with our church and some of the folks that can sew in our missions teams. And so who knows, that connectivity, we may begin to produce both pediatric and full size masks. And so it's those kind of things, the local, when you're sitting around the house going, what can I do that
Yeah.
can be and make a difference?
Right. Well, Don, I don't want to keep any longer. Thank you so much. But I would ask you and Sandy to please update us on your Instagram and because we're all
We will.
watching, we're all praying,
We
and
will. I post every day, Mark. I
yeah,
just am faithful to put scripture, and she is too. But we love you.
yeah,
You stay faithful to putting the good word out. Put words of hope out
oh yeah,
there and good news. That's what we need. Encouragement to remind everybody we're more connected than we thought, and we need each other, and we're going to survive this together. God's in control.
oh, doesn't he look good?
He looks so good. I haven't seen him in so long.
And he looks like he's gonna make it. She's gonna make it. The Lord
Yes.
I just told Sandy. I texted her. I said, the Lord told me you're gonna be fine.
Yeah.
And he really
Yeah.
didn't tell me anything. I just feel like it. The
I
Lord doesn't
think what
talk to me. I'm a Baptist.
the Lord talks to me though. He tells me what to tell you.
Well, you're
It's the
Nazarene.
church
Y'all
way.
y'all have to
No,
have all that.
I've been Pentecostal. You know what's so funny? I was Nazarene till I was 29 or 30 years old, and then I became a Pentecostal. And now I moved away from Murfreesboro. I say a charismatic is what I should say. Then I moved away from Murfreesboro, and in this little town, you're going to die when you hear this. I go to a Free Will Baptist church.
Oh, that's good.
I love it though, and I love my pastor,
Oh yeah.
Shiloh Hackett. Hi, Shiloh Hackett.
You know
But
what?
it's strict, but I don't care. They still love me.
The truth is, it's all those walls have pretty much come down. I remember when I was a kid, the preacher
I agree.
would come and preach against the ecumenical movement. We can't have the Pentecostals flirting with the Baptists and the
Oh
Catholics,
Lord,
and
yeah,
all that stuff's come down now. If you love
yeah.
Jesus, come hang with us.
What I love, when I was with the Faith Coalition, whatever, I got this memorandum or whatever, and what I heard from the White House and from so many of our leaders on both sides of the aisle, and that's what I loved about what Dawn said. This is not a political disease. This is something that's hitting everybody. But anyway, what I loved, of all the people on the planet that will be able to calm nerves and get the correct information out, it's the faith community. It's the pastors. And so they're the ones that can calm, and also check on the elderly in your church. They were really stressing that, going, make a list of the elderly. And my mayor is a friend of mine here, and I got it. No, he goes, I'm out and about checking on the elderly. How are you doing? And I was like, I beg your pardon.
Yeah.
I am not the elderly.
That's great.
But bring me some Depends, because I'm out of underwear. I'm out of toilet paper. But all that to say, what I love about that, I think, of course, I will say this honestly, being a church girl, and I grew up a preacher's daughter, so I'm not speaking harshly to the church. I am in the church. But this will also be something that really pushes some of those churches to get out of their box.
Right.
Find ways to communicate with your congregation. Get your Facebook page together. Get your, this. Our pastor's been preaching from the aisleway on, with a laptop and, talking to us through Facebook.
Right.
I think this is a great way for some of these people to go, wait a minute. This is a new age and a new world.
Yeah.
We've got to figure out how to still stay in touch.
I'm quarantined. I'm quarantined here in Houston. You're quarantined in Tennessee. Yes. And we got 1,606 people watching us. That's big. I mean, right now it varies between, it's been over 2,000. Right. I mean, you can sit right here, reach the world, encourage people, look them right in the eye, right in that little camera right there. And Chonda, you ought to be doing it daily. I mean, I've like, since this Corona thing's kicked in, I've been checking in with the people. I've been calling it checking in, really. Excuse me. Yeah. It gives me, I'm at that age where you can't even stop the belches. Have you noticed that?
I have noticed that, but I didn't want to say.
Sometimes I'm up here talking about the Lord, but I love that I can just.
Lord, if I get that way, please take me on home.
But I've known for a year that this was my future, because I'm 61. I want to slow down, but I still want to talk to people. I want to reach them. I want to tell them God's crazy about them, and I can look right through that camera, and I'm looking at people.
Oh, that's so true.
But you are too, and you just gotta. I know
I need to do it more often. I really do. I'm still at the stage,
and I think the T is silent.
What?
Often. Do it more often.
Oh, see, this is why we could never live together. My husband used to try to fix my diction and my grammar, and when I started really making a good living, he shut up.
Yeah, that's great.
Somebody asked me downstairs, because I live in a condominium, and they asked me as I was going up the elevator, going, is this hard on you? But you're going to go out on tour and now you're all by yourself. And I'm like, well, actually, when I'm not on tour, I spend a lot of time by myself anyway.
Right.
I've got a stack of puzzles to do. I'm going to tell you something. Every one of my closets in this house is going to be so organized when this is over.
Really?
I've started 14 boxes for Goodwill. I've been cleaning out drawers and closets I've been needing to get to for months.
Well, I Googled like things to do with your kids when they're bored, because I thought for people who's watching might be some people. Can you imagine having 3 or 4 little kids running around?
That's what Colleen needs to deal with you. That's what y'all need. That's what those cooks need to be doing.
I love children, but I love them well done. I don't want them climbing on me.
You don't want the competition.
And that's right. You know what?
I love you so much.
I love you too. So what else can you tell us? We've only been talking 38 minutes. Let me see if there's anybody got a question. I just crochet during this. Jody Burroughs Dennison is crocheting.
I wish I knew how to crochet.
That kind of would be fun. I bet it's kind of a mindless thing, but you're creating something.
Yeah.
You're watching from San Dimas, California. I'm enjoying your conversation with Chonda Pierce today. Laughter is good for the soul, and God is good. You're right, Becky O'Neill. God is
Well,
good.
let me look at my Facebook page, see if anybody has a question.
Chandra,
Are we getting the same?
Chandra,
See,
I
on my
would
thing
love
it
to
says we
follow you on Facebook. What's your thing, Chandra? Well, first of all, it's Chonda. There's no R. It's Chonda. I mean, everybody knows that.
Here is.
Nobody knows that. Everybody
No,
calls
my
her
grandpa.
Chandra.
My big sister was Charlotta, and my little sister was Sherilyn.
See?
And my grandpa used to call us chow mein chop suey.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. He never could get him right. So my name has been mispronounced forever.
You answer to anything, don't you?
Well, not anything. I will slap you over some words.
Well, I guess you would. Welcome to my world. 3 boys, 7. Listen to this. Kaylin, let's pray for her. Dear God.
That's my
Kaylin,
pastor's wife.
Maylee Shea has 3 boys, 7 and under. I hope you're a young lady. Wouldn't that be terrible if you're like 60 and you had 3 boys, 7 and under?
Gary Chapman is 62 and has a 6-year-old daughter.
Well, that's his fault. That is absolutely his fault.
I just looked at him and said, "Are you bragging?" This is what. So on my page now, Mark, it says we have 12,000 people engaged.
Well, engaged, but how many are?
What's that mean?
I don't
12?
really know what that means.
I don't know what it means either.
I'm on. Let me see. I don't know.
On my wait. On my Facebook page, we have. Oh no, we only have 635.
On my Facebook page, we have 1,469, 1,507 total. See, what's so cool about Restream, Chonda, is that it's sending it to my Dinner Conversations Facebook page, my YouTube channel, my Mark Lowry, the big page, my Twitter page, and we set up a custom RTMP, which I don't understand what that means, but with your geek guy, what's his name?
Yes, he's so precious. Tommy McBride.
Tommy McBride. We worked all day. Tommy, thank you so much. We set up the custom RTMP, which is sending it to your page. Adam Crabb. We are live. Now there's a singer right there, Adam Crabb.
Lord, that's the truth. It says, "Are y'all live?" And we are alive.
We are live. I am live. Hey, someone wants to. Do you know any silly songs? I don't know any really. Well, I mean,
is this a song that never ends? Like that silly song?
Well, in college, I did one called Big Booger Blues. Did you ever hear that one? It was horrible, but I was young. Well, Shonda's been a picker since way back before your time. She picks them big as a quarter, but never as small as a dime. I have more class than that now. I can't sing that.
Oh, good Lord. I heard somebody, 2 little old ladies dressed all up in their house coats singing Coronavirus Blues on YouTube. I don't know if anybody else does this, but I will get stuck. I fell asleep watching one YouTube after another of you the other night, and it didn't give me nightmares, so that might found the key to my sleeping without nightmares.
I was your Ambien.
You were my Ambien. Can you imagine if I took Ambien? One time, my husband, that he was given Ambien when he was in the hospital. When I got off the elevator the next morning to checking on him, the nurse calls me over there and she goes, "Miss Pierce." And I said, "Oh, I just spit on the TV." She said, "Miss Pierce." I said, "Yes." She said, "Next time somebody asks you what your husband's allergic to, you tell them Ambien." We were up all night with him. Evidently, he got up from the hospital bed, put his catheter down his pants leg and put his pants back on and demanded to be let go because they were doing experimental testing on him. And they were like, "Mr. Pierce, you have to go back to bed." And he goes, "Well, then at least give me a place to read."
Oh, my gosh.
And they let him go sit down in a chair in a room. And she said he just sat in a little kid's chair reading his little book until he said, then she got up, walked away, went back to his room, and he pushed the button, the panic button or whatever. They kept following him, and he had the sheet and the blanket, and he kept going, how do these two things go together? How do these two things work?
We got somebody watching in India. Can you believe that?
Oh, wow.
Look,
how are they doing?
Tracy
wow.
Bennett wants to teach you how to crochet.
I love Tracy Bennett, Chonda and Mark. If that's the Tracy Bennett I know.
Well, it might be.
Awesome. It might be.
And then Lakewood, Washington. Be careful, Dave Colson. I hear that COVID is really going crazy.
Yeah,
is that true?
Yeah, Lakewood. Yeah, I love that church up there, though. I wonder, now when it comes up there, like just then there was a question, it looked like it must have come from YouTube.
Well, I don't know what's happening is I am finding all these questions
platform.
Are coming from all over, right? And I'm just picking them like this one right here. I just click on it and it puts it up on the screen. You've been converted. And then how about we sit and why don't we talk about, why don't we sit? Why don't we talk about the goodness of the Lord? That person, see, Hannah knows that song. And then I say funniest road story. Erica wants to know your funniest road story.
Me or yours?
Yours. And while you tell that, I've got to go see what Belladin's barking about. Hold on.
Okay, I'm telling you one. All right. Oh, he really did. Oh, it's getting dark outside in my house. Well, my funniest road story, which somebody asked about the other day, which it's a combination of, I know, since I'm talking with Mark, I'll tell one about Mark while he's not in the room.
I'm back.
Oh, shoot. We were on tour, and we were at John Hagee's church.
Okay.
You were sitting on the platform behind me, and John Hagee was in the audience. And it's the first time I'd ever been to him. Now, I've been blessed to be at his church a lot since, but it was my first time. And I was so nervous because I was a big John Hagee fan, and here I was getting to be at his church. And I had my little church dress on. And I was telling that story, Mark. I know you won't remember this, but I was telling a story about when I was 18 years of age. I snuck out of the college dorm to get my ears pierced. And I got tongue-tied, and I said a word that was not pierced, but it's a word that means urinate.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember?
I think I do.
I thought I would die. I mean, I could feel the blood just rushing to my face, and I'm like, I just said that word in front of John Hagee, and that church was packed.
Yeah.
And oh my goodness, I could have just died. And you covered for me so good. You just dropped to your knees. You got off the chair, dropped to your knees, and act like you were praying and said, "Oh Lord, help her to stop cussing, Lord." And everybody laughed, which made me feel better. But then I was trying to think of a funny comeback, and I looked and I said, "Oh, well, that's the first time I've ever seen him pray." And it was so much fun, but I'll never forget that. And that's not the only time I've been tongue-tied on that word. And
Well, don't say that word anymore. You don't need to be saying that.
I'm giving up telling that story. If you get, sometimes, have you ever gotten tongue-tied and said something that sounded like something? I mean, not intentionally. You're not a cusser.
No, I have. I'm sure I have. I don't remember.
I've said that word.
Oh.
Yeah. And I'm almost giving up telling that story because there are the worst times in the world there's worse words to get tongue-tied. But do you ever, I still do a little interviews here and now and then that people are still surprised that you could be a comedian and not cuss. And somebody actually asked me one time, now when you're writing your material, is it hard to write down jokes that, doesn't have a cuss word in it?
Really?
Like, no, because they're not swirling up here in my head with cuss words in them. Look at this Pentecostal hair. You ain't going to get no cuss words up in there.
I don't do a lot of interviews anymore, but I haven't had that one. I don't, because I've never actually, the only time I've ever written down anything I've ever said on stage is when I had to write a book. That first
Yeah.
book was just a compilation of all my stories, and I had never written them down before. I just told them my whole life, you know.
See, and I learned that watching you. My manager from Beverly Hills, he managed Billy Crystal and Robin Williams and all those people. He marvels at that, Mark. He just like, these guys, they go out, they work on the same bits off of an index card for months and months and months, from little club to little club, little club. And I go, are you kidding me?
Until they get it
I don't
word for
remember
word.
what I said last. Yeah, I don't even remember what I said last night.
Right.
And I watched you do that. You used to just tell your stories.
Yeah.
And you could bridge the gap, and you knew when to turn the corner. And I would watch you do that every single night. And I think somewhere along the way, I got really comfortable in my own skin that when I walk out there, I don't sweat it.
Right.
I just know something come up. Something's going to come up in my brain, or I know some stories I'm going to start out with and
Yeah,
tell.
and also you have a catalog, a lifetime catalog of materials,
yes!
material just piled up. I can pull out Miss Barth, or I can pull out Miss Holland, or I could talk about Mama, or I could,
pivot on the good foot.
I'll pivot on your good foot.
Pivot on your good foot. I love that story.
All of it.
You got some good ones.
And so do you. Second row piano side.
So what was your roughest? What's one of your funny show stories? I mean, road stories. I found a dead man in my hotel room.
Well, I can't top that. I'm just, after that story, thank you, good night, see y'all tomorrow when I check in, see how you're doing. You found and that's a true story.
Well, it's a combination. The way it's on, I forgot what album it's on, but the way it's on the album is a kind of a combination. But I really did find a dead man in the hotel.
Oh, really?
And but what's really bad as a Christian, my first thought was not how to get the man to get alive or get help. My first thought was, if somebody finds me coming out of this room, my career's over.
Oh, you are crazy. That was your.
I know.
That is hysterical. Who cares? You didn't think about maybe giving him a little. What's that pump? You pump his heart? No.
That's what I feel terrible about. I was worried about what the church is going to think. Now I've quit a lot of that.
That is funny.
I'm losing my cushion. There we go. Oh, my girlfriend's trying to call me. I'm online.
Well, you know what? I guess
I'm on Facebook Live. I can't answer. Don't say anything ugly. I'm on Facebook Live. I'll call you back.
All right, love you.
Bye. That's my best friend, Mary Beth.
Now, why is she your best friend?
Oh, that is hard to say, isn't it?
Well, tell me, what makes a best friend?
I don't know. It is your best friend when you close your eyes and think about it.
Hey, wait, hold it right there. Listen to this. I just said Mrs. Holland. Miss Holland, my third grade teacher. Guess who just said, Mark, you better not talk about Ms. Holland too much. She's listening. Mrs. Holland, Ramona Holland, my third grade teacher. Every one of you ought to go follow her. She's still alive and kicking.
That is so precious.
Hi, Miss Holland. Okay.
I don't know any of my third grade.
Well, she's the only one that matters.
I don't remember anybody else except Joyce Mayo, my high school drama teacher, and we're still good friends.
Okay, I interrupted you. Go back. Can you remember what you were...
Oh, what did you ask me? See, this is awful about us. Oh, you asked me what makes a best friend.
Yes.
I do have a handful of girlfriends that I've had since I was about 15 or 16 years of age. We lost one. One passed away, but we still adamantly get together every year, especially after David died. We all went to high school together. We've lost a few of us, and we got really adamant about not letting too much time that we don't visit. I mean, it's one thing, we Facebook, we have a little text stream, but we get very intentional, and that's it. But when I always talk about a best friend, I had both my sisters are in heaven, and so a best friend that takes that spot is very, very important to me. I always think your best friend is if something terrible happened in your life or something amazing happened in your life, who's the first person you call? That's your best friend. And that's Mary Beth.
And they also will help you hide the bodies.
How do you know they haven't? Oh my stars! It's so funny. It's so funny. But it's so true. I hope Mary Beth's watching. She probably just spit her coffee out. That's
Yeah, I've
hilarious.
got friends that that know me completely
Yes.
and
Yes.
still love me, just like
Yes.
God. God knows
Yes.
all the good, all the bad, and still He watches everything I do, not so He can stomp me on the head if I do the wrong thing, but because He loves me so much He can't take His eyes off of me. That's the way all
Oh,
healthy fathers are with their children. That's why
right.
that's why He watches everything we do, because
You know,
he sees you coming and His heart skips a beat. You're His
I
child.
don't know if when I don't know your church experience or whatever, other than it was a long time before I was taught that or I heard that. I don't
But
think
you
I
know
was
what?
taught.
I always suspected it.
Oh, that's good.
Didn't you?
I always suspected that God was a lot more fun than they let on.
Yeah. Anybody
That's
love
how I always thought. I thought God liked me a little more than what they would let on.
I
And like,
always
okay,
suspected He was a lot nicer than they told me.
I remember I think I was about not 12, and I found a cigarette butt in the woods, and I tried to smoke it, even though I didn't have any matches. I just put it in my mouth a little bit,
Yeah.
and I came home and I told my mother, and she made me wash my mouth out with soap, and we had to pray that the Lord would forgive me and all this stuff. And the whole time she's praying, I go, I bet you Jesus didn't care if I had that cigarette. Now
but,
I didn't start smoking,
but Mama
but
did.
no, but my mama, I always, I don't know, I always say, I don't think my church tried to push legalism, but for some reason, that's all I heard. I had to get cleaned up and act right, and or he's gonna drop me like a hot potato. And I used to laugh and say I got saved 342 times,
Right.
But there's a great theological discussion to be had. But what I hate that I missed in my childhood was what you just said, that drawing to the love of God. And when I finally got that, I got more relaxed about everybody, about the church. I got more relaxed about my life with the Lord, and it made me want to please Him more.
I like what
It made
Howard Goodman said when toward the end of his life. Bill Gaither asked him. He said, "Hey Howard, what would you do different today than you would have 50 years ago?"
yeah.
He said, "I'm letting a lot more people in now." In other
Oh,
words, back when we were under the law, we were just so nervous that
yeah.
everybody wasn't keeping the law, and we were judging everybody. Is their hair too long? Is
If
their
they
hair
weren't
too?
doing it like us, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then when you
Wow,
realize, man,
precious. I mean, you opened the door for me to be on a few of those Gaither videos. I've not been in that circle, as much as you, but I grew up on all that music, and the minute a new, like I just got the Crab Family just did a new album, and I downloaded that whole thing. So I don't know what your playlist looks like on your phone. Mine will have 5 albums by Kirk Franklin, and then Sandi Patty, and then it'll have Karen Williams, and then it'll have today I listened all day long to Babby Mason.
oh, I love Babby.
I love Babby Mason, but that whole song "Standing in the Gap," I thought, because my pastor's wife had called and said, "Do you need anything?" The world, the church right now can stand in the gap for so many people and so many things, from going and helping somebody get some groceries, or
Right.
just speaking peace and calm over their lives, or help find them a roll of toilet paper, for heaven's sakes. We are at a place where the church could really shine right now,
And I
and
think it
especially,
is.
yeah,
I
I do
see that
too.
happening.
I do too. I think I see it in so many ways where we are our communities are having to rely on our churches to get word out, and we're having to rely on, that local connection that we have, the body of believers that you have to reach out to neighbors. And the amazing thing, we talked about this earlier about churches now have to get out of the box and get online, but just think of the people that have not been to church in a long, long time, but now, because your service is on the internet, they're going to tune in. They're going to hear a message that they may have never heard had we not walked the road with this virus.
Exactly.
And yes, it's horrible that people are passing away. It's terrible. But God works all things for his good, according to his purpose. And he will work good out of this.
He will. He'll get the glory somehow. But you know what? The church has been through battles before. What's that old Gloria song? Storms and tempests and rocks on the shore. Though the hull may be battered, down inside it's safe and dry, and it will carry its cargo to the port in the sky. The thing is, Jesus dies for the world, and then a little virus comes along, and everybody shivers. It is something to shiver about, and we need to hunker down and save humanity and
do what we're supposed to do.
Get the curve down so that we don't become Italy. But we are not to be afraid. We are. He has not given us a spirit of fear, and our Father has got this. And even though we don't understand the mortgage, we don't understand the theology, we don't understand sometimes if we're even in, because we're so ignorant and we're the children, we still get to live in the house. Because our Father's got the keys.
My mother, is my earliest remembrance, and I wish I knew some of them better, but she used to do readings. That's what she called them. Not you read your palm, but recitations.
Yes.
And she had one, I can't remember all of it, but she had it. We would sing, "'Tis the old ship of Zion, 'tis the old ship of Zion, 'tis the old ship of Zion. Something's
good enough for me. Give me that old."
Yes. And so you would sing that a few times, and then she would do a reading and goes, "There's a stout old ship a-swinging down the squalling seas of time. From the Arctic to the tropic, it has weathered many times. The spanking wind of heaven is a-booming in her sail. Oh, I've seen 1,000 vessels. She's seen 1,000 gales." And then I forgot part of it goes, "And on this trip that she has charted, she's passed many, many boats. But yet old Zion sure knows how to keep afloat."
Oh.
Isn't that so precious?
Yes.
And she just, I gotta find that. Maybe my brother has it memorized or something, but it was always, and I would always get cold chills. She would do one of that, and she would do one about the touch of the master's hand, about a violin player.
Oh, yeah. J.D. Sumner did that one.
Yes, maybe that's where she got it. And I remember watching her and going, wow, the art of telling the story.
Oh, yeah.
And the Bible is filled with people that told the story.
Right.
And we are going to have this story to tell. We will tell this story. You remember when the pandemic came through the world and it took a lot of people home, but man, I got to know my neighbor better, or I watched America, hold their shoulders back and quit fussing about stupid stuff and start helping each other. And I think we will tell this story for years to come. Yeah.
We're going to get to heaven one day and say, I'd enjoyed that a lot more had I really believed I was going to live through it. And you are going to live through it.
And not to be morbid, my brother and I, we were sitting at the farm not long ago. And, I had this little farm called the Funny Farm,
right.
and just had a missionaries to Uganda out there this week, because they're there praying, trying to figure out how they're going to get out of the country. When is it going to be time to leave, I suppose. But anyway, my brother, since my husband passed away, he's been a big help. And of course, our parents are in heaven. Our sisters are in heaven. My husband's in heaven. And we're sitting on a picnic table. And I said, the farm's looking so pretty. We should have a family reunion soon. And he looked at me and said, we are.
We are. This is
We're it.
Oh, it,
But I will say, most of my loved ones are going on ahead of me, and so I'm ready either way. Now I'm not going to jump off the roof, but
no,
I'm ready either way. Either way, we're going to be okay.
right,
Yeah.
right. And I hope you know that if you're watching tonight, and there's a lot of you watching. And
Yes.
Shonda will check in with you again this week, and so will I. Won't you, Shonda? You'll go live.
I will. I will. I promise. I will say Tuesday, I'm going to go live, I think, for a little bit. But Wednesday night, I'm going to have, the gal that used to travel with me and play the piano, who's so good.
Right.
She's going to come over, and we're going to sit and take requests of, people. I don't know why they want me to sing.
Wednesday
We're
night?
going to take Wednesday night.
Well, would you text me and I'll share it? Make sure I share it so,
Oh, that would be
yeah.
so
Because the more
nice.
people that share this, the more we'll see it. See, and that's how you build.
And I'm trying to get better at this. You're so good about the microphones and stuff. I don't have.
Yeah,
that
you
yet, but
got
I'm
to
gonna
get.
try to
You've
do
got
it.
to get a USB microphone like this one. This would be perfect. If you were here, I'd just give this to you right now. Just give it to
All right,
you.
I'm taking.
But you're not
All
here.
right, I'll get one.
Well, I love you guys, all you watching. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Shonda.
I love you. I love you, Mark.
I love you so much. We go a long ways, but I don't love you like that. I ain't getting married. I don't care what they say.
I'm not either.
But
I'm enjoying this.
because I'm afraid once you
dream.
got to know me, then you'd want a divorce and you'd want half. You ain't getting half.
You're not getting married because you're stingy.
I don't care how much you got. You ain't getting half.
Okay. I don't need your half. I enjoy I'm in the penthouse and you're down in Texas with a big yard. I don't want a big yard.
I know it. All right, let's do this. Let's do this again.
Okay. Yeah, name the day. We'll let them know.
All right. I love you, and I love all of you watching. Good night.